Oh my God, we are live on Benivo Bites, and I tell you what an amazing week. Last week we had ERC, all about that in a moment. This week it's FEM. I was actually at the FEM event this morning, doing the show now, and in fact going back to the Emmas in the evening. So what a day. So people are coming in from all over the world. You know how it works, everybody. Join the conversation, write in the comments box. We want to know who's out there, where you are, what you're doing. We've got such a great show for you. We've got some great guests backstage. We've got an awesome subject, because today we are going to be talking about the integrated RMC model. And in many ways, this is the future. This is the best of both worlds. This is not just the white hot technology service. And it's not just the white glove service. It is a combination of the two. So really important, and it's as I said, really important subject. So please do listen, join with us as we talk about this hugely important subject. And then talking about important subjects, we've got a really important subject next week. I mean, this week's important, but next week, I'm just so proud of the show we've got for you next week. And when I say proud, I literally mean proud, because the show we've got next for you next week is Moving with Pride, and we've got a spotlight on LGBTQI mobility, and we've got 4 amazing special guests who are going to be sharing both their personal experiences and the experiences of the people they deal with. We've got Guy Smith from DLA Piper. We've got Chris Wilde from Bloomberg. We've got Scheherazade Maestre from Amazon. And we've got Caroline Boyle from Altavita. And then we're also going to be having both an immigration and a tax update that is focused specifically on LGBT mobility. So amazing subject. Whatever you do, do not miss the show next week. So what else then? We've got codes for you. You know what? You know, you can get your codes, ERC codes, SHRM code, HRCI codes. I'll leave them up there so you can see all those codes now. You can get your codes. So whether you want CPE codes from ERC, and Lynn Shotwell and the team, amazing event last week, more on that in a moment. And then from our friends at Rocket Mortgage, you can get your SHRM codes and you can get your HRCI codes. So if you want those codes, there they are. Get your camera out, take a quick photo or screenshot it, or just in the old-fashioned way, write it down. I'll leave that up there for a few moments so you can see those codes. So pretty exciting stuff going on. But then again, you know how it is. Every week, we like to share some breaking news. What's been going on from around our industry? Who's moved job? Who's been promoted? What else has happened in our industry? So do you want to see it? Do you want to see all the latest news? Here we go. Here's our minute of breaking news. So congratulations to everyone who's been promoted, everyone who's moved job, and all the other exciting news, and indeed to any other new moms out there, indeed new dads out there. That's, you know, all such lovely, lovely news that we're sharing in the industry. We're in the middle of conference season. I said we had worldwide ERC last week. FEM is going live even at the moment, even as we speak, people are at ERC. One of the things we like to do at Benivo is crowdsource information. We put together a little bit of a video from ERC so you can see what people thought about ERC in the last week. It's a little bit noisy, it's a little bit rough around the edges because, well, you know how it is when you're filming in a big conference center. But if anybody would like to have a quick look on the video now, it's very short, it's about just under 2 minutes, and see who you recognize. See, you know, there's probably going to be a few of your friends, friendly faces out there. So let's see who was at ERC last week.
Takeaway from GWS is that always make sure that you have a place setting at the time.
My biggest takeaway from ERC is that everyone is struggling with the same technology challenges that we are, and companies like Benivo are working hard to make it happen for us.
And the best thing that I learned here is about consistency. Consistency is key, but also networking and catching up with your friends and pals and mobility.
Hi, I'm Eric Morris, and I'm with Global Expansion Now.
It's been amazing, awesome to be back together. I would say my key takeaway is the future is mobility. We're driving some awesome change.
My takeaway for today is that everyone is hungry. I think we've been at home for 2+ years now, and we're all hungry for more information.
I'm on the technology side. My biggest takeaway so far has been through one panel specifically about technology.
I really enjoyed the keynotes. Thought that it was fantastic, very motivational.
You know, this year is so much fun to be back with so many people here. And, you know, I don't know that Vegas has always been my favorite spot, but it's been incredible for getting together with.
You know, I think I'm blown away every year at ERC by how collaborative and just nice everyone.
Stable from Legacy Health.
I'm Benivo with UPS.
And the conference is great because you get a chance to network with so
Great sessions. You know, one of my favorites was, of course, the opening session with Eric. Very inspirational. Everything to do.
So there we are. That was ERC. We also ran a bit of a little bit of a conference. What we said is that if you want to be on the show, then just let us know and we'll see what we can do. And the winners were, here we are, let's put it up. We've got Tessa Boone from Ford, we've got Jake Medina, and we've got Sarah Beck from Workday. So they will be on the show at some point in the not too distant future. How exciting is that? So now what we're going to do is straight away is we're going to be bringing in Julie Onslow-Cole. Unfortunately, is not with us this week. She's speaking at a conference in Miami. But what we are going to do is bring on her colleague, Alex Finch, to give us our immigration update. So let's bring on Alex Finch. Great to see you. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for stepping in for Julie Onslow-Cole. And you're going to be talking to us now. You're in the London office of Fragment, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Okay, and you're giving us a UK immigration update. So, Alex, this is your 5 minutes of fame. The stage is yours. Go for it. Give us the immigration update this week. 1, 2, 3, go.
Thanks very much, Brian. I'm delighted to give an update today, and I feel honoured to step in for Julia. As you say, I work in Faggerman's London office and work closely with Julia Onslow-Cole on UK immigration matters. Things have certainly been very active in the last few weeks. Everyone knows we've seen a change in Prime Minister, and we also have a new immigration minister. The UK government have a lot to deal with, particularly with the refugee crisis, but I wanted to address a few issues that are going to be relevant for global mobility professionals. So I'm going to talk a little bit about processing times and some practical considerations, some new routes that are being launched, and then some tips and things to note on the ongoing rollout of digital borders, if I get time. So launching straight into it, one thing to mention is that the UK immigration system still sees significant delays. There's a really generous scheme reacting to the war in Ukraine, under which about 200,000 visas have been issued, but it's mainly reallocating resources. Now, it's really positive that work sponsor categories have been, processing times have gone back to normal. But one point to be aware of, if you are a global mobility professional relocating a British national back to the UK, is that if they have a trailing spouse who's a foreign national, they will need a visa, and that's taking up to 24 weeks to process. So that means planning that move quite a bit of time in advance. Another important point to be aware of is the processing time for British passports. It's still about a 10-week wait unless you apply using a priority service. And you normally have to submit your old passport to apply for the new one. So those priority services are really worth considering or making use of if you've got a professional with a very heavy travel schedule. I also just wanted to briefly mention about Russian nationals. So they are still, they are now processing applications from Russian nationals, but there is no variation to the normal rule that you have to apply from your country of residence or nationality. So something to be aware of. Okay, so moving on to new routes, there are a couple of new routes that are being launched. One is Scale Up, which are launched just over 2 months ago on 22nd of August. And that is available for a UK company that is scaling quickly. It's got to have existed for at least 3 years, and it's got to have an average of 20% growth over the last 3 years. But if a company has those, a UK company satisfies that, then they can sponsor workers without having to pay the skills levy, which can save up to £5,000 per sponsored worker. And also the compliance obligations fall away after 6 months. So it's quite advantageous. And we'll see if that offer is taken up more widely. And another point to mention is that the UK government has greatly increased the scope of the BNO scheme, which is for British national overseas. That's the British nationality associated with Hong Kong. And previously, only those with BNO status themselves or their household members could relocate to the UK. The government have now opened that to the children of BNOs, and the children don't need to be part of the parents' household or to be applying with them. So quite a significant expansion to allow people to come in from Hong Kong. Finally, just very briefly, it's worth mentioning that the permission to travel scheme is on the way. So that's going to launch in 2023, and it's basically the equivalent of the US ESTA scheme, but for the UK. It's already been trialled with nationals of Gulf states. And what we're already seeing is that business travelers do need to be aware that although you might have PTT, that's only a security check. It doesn't mean you're approved for entry. So we have seen some people get caught out because they didn't realize that they still had to convince the border officer that they're a genuine visitor. So that's something to be really conscious of as that PTT scheme is rolled out next year. I think that was 4.5 minutes. So yeah, that's my main points, I think, on the immigrations.
Alex, you've done really well. You've had your baptism of fire. You've been on live LinkedIn TV, Global Mobility TV. Alex, it's been just wonderful having you on the show, and we really appreciate you stepping in for Julia. What we're going to do now is we're going to say goodbye to you, and we're going to bring on our change maker for the week. So everybody, you know how it works, and it's especially important this week because this is Alex's first time. So everybody out there, hit the heart button, hit the like button, hit the applause button, and let's give a really, really big thank you to Alex Finch for giving us this amazing immigration update, and to welcome to the stage the wonderful, wonderful change maker that is Yuki Watanabe. Yuki, my hero, my delivery hero. Great to have you on the show again. Now, there must be people out there that don't know you. I expect many, many people do. I'm seeing the comments coming in. But Yuki, for those people who don't know you, tell us a bit about yourself. Where were you born? Where you grew up? Where you worked? Tell us a bit about yourself, Yuki.
Okay, great. Thank you, Brian, for having me on the show. Hi, those of you who I haven't met. I'm Yuki Watanabe. I am with the Delivery Hero right now, but I was originally from Japan. I was born and raised there, moved to United States for schooling, and I spent most of my career in the United States, up and down the coast, but mostly on West Coast. A year and a half ago, I had made a decision to explore other parts of the world, and here I am. I moved to Germany to take a job at Delivery Hero. It's been a very, very interesting journey.
Okay, I think.
Was there something happening with the?
I think you just
is it just me?
I think you just froze, Yuki, or maybe it was me, but somebody up there froze. But anyway, Yuki, you're on your third continent.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about Delivery Hero and what you're doing there.
So I lead the mobility, talent mobility program. We manage end-to-end employee movement, including new hires, employee transfers, exceptional remote working programs, the whole gamut. I have a team of wonderful professionals that work with me along the side.
I thought we were going to say a team of one there. We went on to say wonderful.
Oh, wonderful! Yes. Well, they're kind of a Wonder Women, but they're all wonderful.
Excellent. Okay. So tell us a bit more. I mean, tell us about your passion for technology.
Passion for technology. If I had my choice, I would have everything digital, technology enabled. And of course, you can't replace human touch, but to the extent possible, everything that can be automated, simplified. I love technologies. I'm not into a lot of games, but if I had $1 million or unlimited amount of money, I would really love to have Jarvis. I can just tell him in you know what I'm talking about. Yes, I want a Jarvis.
Okay. And tell us a bit about you talked a bit about tech, but tell us also about the charity that you support.
So the charity I support is a charity called Action Against Hunger. I don't think anybody should go hungry, especially children. I don't know if everybody knows, but more than 800 million people go to sleep hungry every night. And when you think about, I think we have about 8 billion total population. So that's like 10% of the population. They go to bed hungry every night. So this charity organization is really not just looking at delivering food or just immediately solving the hunger. It really looks at the cause of the hunger and creates and supports and creates programs to really get to the root of the hunger situation. And this is why I really truly believe in supporting the program like this.
Okay, Yuki, thank you so much. It's great to have you. I like to say, as a friend and as a technology advisor to us at Benivo as part of our change makers. I know you've got this passion for technology, and we're so happy that we can help support your charity. So Yuki, thank you so much for everything you do. If out there you would like to join the change makers, and we've got over 80 change makers now, then shoot us a message on LinkedIn or email. We're looking for, I'm afraid it's corporates only, but if you'd like to be a change maker, then there's the link. Talis put the link up there, and do look and come to be a change maker. The other thing we do, of course, is we run our top 100 lists every year. And this year we're running Top 100 Innovators. And I just want to say a little bit about that. And then we're going to say goodbye to Yuki, and we're going to bring Tally on stage. So everybody, I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Hit the heart button, hit the like button, hit the applause button. Let's say a big, big thank you to Yuki. Let's break the internet. And let's also welcome onto the stage Tally. And we're going to tell you a little bit about the Top 100 Innovators. So Tally, bless you. You're breaking your vacation to be with us. So everybody out there, let's put some love out there for Tally, who's breaking her vacation just to be with us on the show. That is real dedication and love, and we truly appreciate you. And I'm sure the whole audience appreciates you more. And I know we've had a couple of LinkedIn glitches today, which just makes things even more exciting for us all. But the show must go on. So Tally, tell us about the Top 100
Did you just see? Yeah, we are getting lots of nominations, but I loved Mena's comment now. She's going to bribe in order to get into the innovator list. Mena, you don't need to bribe. I'm sure you have something special that you should be nominated for. And if one of your colleagues is thinking that you did something special, just ask him to nominate you, and I'm sure you'll be on our list. So yeah, I just put the link, and I'll share it again, and just anyone from your team that is doing something great, just nominate them. But I want to really quickly, because you have a wonderful show ahead of you, so I just wanted to invite people. If you're anywhere around London on November 10th, then do come to say hello and hear our Beth Nielsen in the GME Live. And if by any chance you're not in London, then you still have your internet, and you can connect to the masterclass with Eric Halverstone. So pretty much at the same time. And I'm going to share again the links. So either Beth or Eric, it's going to be, any of them would be a wonderful choice. And you're going to see Beth really soon, right?
Absolutely. Well, Beth will be there. Well, she'll be on the show in a minute. And
exactly.
We'll be at the dinner. I'm just looking at some of the comments coming through on LinkedIn, and I can see we've got someone who's looking for a wife out there on LinkedIn. So God knows, I think we're getting. I
got a new haircut. Maybe that's the reason.
I'm gonna say we're talking about expats here, not sexpats, just so everybody knows what we're going on about here. Anyway, Tally, thank you so much for all your help. What we're going to do now is going to move on. We're going to be talking about the integrated RMC. This is a big subject. I'm so excited. We've got Nitsan Udan and Beth Nielsen with us, and this is about how we can marry. I think there's a theme going on here, isn't there? How we can marry technology and RMCs together. So without further ado, we're going to bring out Nitsan and Matt. So everybody, you know how it works. Hit the heart button, hit the like button, hit the applause button. Let's say thank you to Tally. Have a great rest of your vacation. And hello to Nitsan and indeed to Beth. Let's go for it. Nitsan and Beth, good to see you. It seemed like, well, hours since I last saw you, because we were at the FEM event together in London just this morning. So we're going to talk about the best of both worlds. So we're trying to create something that is bigger than everything, because at the moment there's really two models out there. There's an RMC model and there's a tech model. But the question is, can we actually marry them to create something that is bigger than both? And the question I'll ask of the audience, actually, before we get into that, is this. In an ideal world, would you prefer, and these are the choices I'm going to give you, for yourself or for your assignees, would you prefer a white glove service, a white hot tech service, or indeed a combination of the both? Now, I'm going to start with you, Beth, because in your career, I know you've worked both for tech companies and with RMCs. So tell us about your history and where you see this ideal world.
Yes, I should probably start with an introduction. I'm sure most people who've watched the show know me.
Beth, but do tell us who you are.
So my background is I started at Deloitte, so obviously with Big Four technology, so GA technology. Then I worked at Equus, who people might know make Assignment Pro. And then I worked at Move Guide that became Topia, so the Polaris tech, the Move Guides tech. And then I worked at an RMC where we used Assignment Pro and also experience of Service Engine. So lots of different technology. And throughout all of that, there's been different models that people have used. And there's been different approaches, some which are people first, which is in my experience was more the RMC model, where they put the people at the front of every solution, and some where it was more technology focused, with some limited or focused RMC support. I think where I'm really excited about the Benivo solution is that we are really opening up who can provide that support to any RMC. So really allowing the corporates who would like to use Benivo because you believe in our technology, we've, with our, I know we're going to come on to it, but the expense management, the vendor management, the finances, the cost estimates, and everything else that's included. But really you really like your RMC that you're currently using, and they've got good people, and you want where your employees want to speak to those people, you want to continue those relationships. And I believe that we're really delivering the best of both worlds because we're giving you the choice to do that and to marry up that tech.
Yeah, and I've seen the comments coming in, and I think pretty much everybody said combo is what they want. I mean, there's Trish McDonald say combination all the way. I think I saw Chris Chalk saying combo. I mean, loads of people saying combo. We actually did this as a survey on LinkedIn, and these were the results that we got. 6% said in an ideal world they wanted a white glove. Only 6%. Okay, 27% said they wanted a tech service, but a whopping great 67%. So 2/3 said that they wanted a combination. And this is the thing, a lot of companies, I think, have historically said it's an all decision. You either have a tech solution or you have a white glove solution. And that's not the way we live our lives. What we've said is let's go for an and solution. Let's go for a solution where you can have the tech and the white glove, the white hot tech and the white glove service. So Nitsan, tell us a bit about why we designed an integrated solution and where we are, and then maybe we'll start talking about, get into some of those details.
Yeah, so it's, by the way, the results you showed are shocking, right? I would expect white glove to be much higher than only self-serve or only technology. It takes a minute to digest. That's 5 times higher. Wow. All right, but you ask why, and the question for the answer for any question that comes to Benivo at why are we doing something is always the same. It's because that's what clients ask us to do. We don't have a big strategy team in Benivo. What we do is just we listen and then we build that. And as many people would know, Benivo traditionally started by serving more the early career employees, a population, and then we became more of a tool for mobility that was introduced to all the employees, right? So now we have everyone. We relocated this year on this model, a CEO of a public traded company. And as we evolved there, it was clear that just giving self-serve tools is not enough. And the need was, hey, how can we also provide the hand-holding? And the reality is that the best experience is a personalized experience. And we see it everywhere, right? People like where they can craft their own experience, when they can decide when they do things themselves and when they raise their hand and say, oh, whoa, 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 I want someone now to help me. And the more flexibility we give to people everywhere, not just in mobility, the higher the satisfaction and the better the results are. I mean, even look on a service like Amazon that many people here use. It's a self-serving platform, but there are people there, and when you need them, you get the best service you can get from, I wouldn't say from everyone, but a very, very good service. I
must say, I'm always amazed with Amazon and eBay is another, whereas when you actually need to speak to somebody, you click on it and they call you back within 2 minutes. You know, whereas there's so many other companies out there where you're left hanging on the phone if you want to speak to somebody for 20 minutes with some ghastly music. And the way that they combine that white glove and that tech is amazing. So let's talk about how we're doing that, because what we're talking about here, I think, is maybe, if you like, turbocharging the digital experience with RMC expertise. So tell us a bit about that.
So here is what we do there, right? So I'm not going to do now a full demo and a full introduction to Benivo, but on high level, people know already, right? What we do is we digitalize and we automate everything that can be automated, and that stays. So that means that the mobility team still gets the tools to automate all of their manual work, to generate documents, to run the smart cost estimate, to automatically reconcile all the cost, to see the status updates on the vendors. We'll talk a little bit how is it so important for VIPs a little bit later about it. But all those tools, the automatic expense reimbursements, all of them are included. Right? So we take everything that was done manually and we automate that and make that instant and make that a better experience. And on top of that, we have the RMC who can then provide the hand-holding support when the employee wants it. So sometimes it will be to get the brief, sometimes the policy brief, maybe I don't want a policy brief, maybe I just want to learn about the location or to help someone that will help me book services or handle it. I booked my own services, I have an escalation. Okay, now I want support. The employee can make the decision at every step of the process when they want more support and when they just want to get with it themselves. They are in the driver's seat. And that's what drives such high satisfaction score. Because if they just want someone to do everything for them, that's also an option. And one of the things that Beth mentioned before, and I want to highlight there, is that we are not coming and saying, hey, we are Benivo, we have the best relocation consultants on the market. No, we do have the best technology because that's our expertise. But we also have a lot of respect for what a lot of players are doing very well in this industry, which is providing that white glove support. And we don't think that we will do that better. That's why we partnered with the best RMCs. We work with large RMCs, with small RMCs. We can't name all of them here today, but this is something that is in play with many. And of course, also opening up for every corporate to decide who they want that RMC to be. We are not going to dictate to a corporate who they have to use.
And just to say that if you're an RMC out there and you'd like to partner on the white glove, then reach out to us. And if you're a corporate who would like us to partner with your RMC or indeed with a new RMC, then again, reach out to us. And as I said, we are, how do I put this? We are neutral. We will partner with whoever the corporate wants us to partner with to provide the best service. Now, there's a couple of comments that have come in, and maybe we'll take some of these. And maybe, Beth, you can pick up on some. There's a comment here from Steve Hoffman. He says, it's nearly impossible to be a 100% tech solution in this business. And then equally, white glove is usually expensive. So it's a question of how you marry those two. Let me just put up another couple of comments and maybe ask you to comment on them all. And then Mena said, we'll pull up Mena's comment. She says, not all nationalities and cultures are prepared or are used to using technology. So, and then one last comment I'd like to put in is from Chris Chalks. Let's bring up Chris's comment. Chris says, flexibility is the key. The basic questions / needs can be handled by tech, so that complex issues are dealt with by consultants who have more time to focus on those issues. Beth, do you want to pick up on some of those comments?
Yeah, I think that they are fantastic comments, and they pick up on the key themes that when I'm speaking to prospective clients every day, they're saying to me. So they're saying that if they're going through a current RMC process, they're saying that their employees are getting a call that they don't value. So they're getting a call from the consultant that lasts an hour, and some of them aren't choosing to even have that call, and it's costing the corporate money to provide that service, and the employee is saying, I'm either not bothered about it or I'm not getting value from it. So we've got some corporates trying to provide this service, trying to provide white glove handheld experience, and those employees are turning it down because they'd much rather just use technology. Equally, we have some who are doing a technology first approach, and then they've got people coming to them, or lots of questions coming to the team and overwhelming the team, because actually, as they said, maybe they're from there's cultural differences or certain populations who don't want to use the technology. So as Chris was mentioning, it's got to be the best of both worlds, but it does not have to be expensive. What we're saying at Benivo is, because we do not charge for expense management, ongoing assignment management, cost estimates, a lot vendor initiation is another big one. There are huge cost savings through using technology to do work that may traditionally have been something you're paying for, either as part of a bundled fee or on a cafeteria style service. So actually, it's really helpful to say to your current partner, actually, where am I getting the most value out of this relationship? Where do I need those expertise, and where can it be done by technology? And really reevaluating what your population need, and not being presenting employees with something that they don't use, and equally not paying for something that you could just get through our technology that's automated. So it really is a new choice.
And the tech isn't just there. The tech isn't just there from the employee experience point of view. Of course, the tech is there from the HR manager's point of view, or the mobility manager's point of view. And one of the problems that I think many mobility managers face, we discussed this in a session at FEM today, is that many mobility managers spend a lot of time doing repetitive tasks. Yeah. They're doing tasks that, they're doing the same task. Maybe they're entering the same data multiple times. And by doing that, they're making their job less exciting, and they're also increasing the risk of errors. Because every time you enter, you've got the risk of error. And anything we can do to use tech to make the mobility manager's experience better, even if we've got white glove in there for the employee, but make the management experience better, makes it a good thing. As I think I said in the session earlier, in life, you can work harder, you can work smart. And if you're smart, you'll work smart. So Nitsa, I know when we were talking about this earlier, you talked in terms of the model, and you talked in terms of first and second level of support. And then I asked you if we could see a bit of a demo as to what we were talking about. So tell us about first and second level, and maybe let's show a little bit of a demo too. Yes,
let's share my screen and let's look a little bit in the platform, and I'll walk us through that. So we are looking now at the
screen is shared.
Thank you. We're looking now at the Stark Industries platform that we all know and love. Stark Industries is our demo platform. It's always branded, of course, as the corporate. And on this platform, I can see my usual areas of actions I need to do, the destination I'm going to, my money, my benefits. And once we are operating with the integrated RMC, I can go into my benefit section, and I can see these are all the benefits that are available for me. And I can decide, do I want to start and engage with them? Or maybe I just don't want to do that. I just want to talk to someone. So I can just click on my policy consultation or contact my advisor. I automatically get their live availability. So I don't need to go back and forth. When are you available? When I can get a call? No, I can see their availability. I can choose a slot, book a time with my relocation consultant, who will just walk me through those things, or help me get it done, help me understand what I'm eligible to, how do I engage, what are the right things to do, etc. But
so
at the same time,
this is really cool, Nitzan. So let's say you're out there and you've got an RMC. Let's call them Fabulous RMs, Fabulous Relocations Inc. And they are your RMC. So at that point, you can go in through the platform and you can say, okay, I need a consultation with Fabulous Relocations Inc. You click on it, you go through to their calendar, and you go straight through to the consultant at Fabulous Relocations Inc.
Exactly. And at the same time, I might be, looking, okay, but in the meantime, until I have this call, I want to get a few things done, or maybe I gave access to the spouse platform, to the spouse or partner platform, to my partner, who will want to get a few things done. They actually can do it, right? So if I want to start my home search, I know I'm going to need it anyway. So I can look and see which information I need to provide here in order to trigger that. So that can start in the background. I can get and look at the timeline of what do I need to do first. Should I start by providing information to my immigration provider, or should I start by looking for shipping options? All those guidance are available for me and allow me to already take actions, ensure I never need to provide the same information more than once, and start things moving that where I'm in control, right? So I'm not only dependent on someone else doing something. That's giving us the value of being personalizing the experience and the employee to give a choice. And let's say I've selected a service and something is not going as I expected, I can still contact my relocation consultant, who will then help me because they have access to everything, right? The value of everything, and Beth will show us some of that a bit later, but the value of having everything on a single platform is the data. The data analytic is the one thing that mobility has left behind for too long. And now we've seen that in the industry in the last 6 to 9 months, transforming programs. People are using data in ways that was never used before to figure out what's happening at any given time. If we look here, for example, I want to see what's happening with my visa immigration. As the employee, I can see at any stage, what's the next step? What's my current step? How long should it take? Who should take an action? And the same about each and every service. But also the survey, also the integrated RMC can see where I am, right? So there's a much less need of catch-up communication, as Chris Chalk said, right? There's much less admin work that free up the time to actually do what only people can do, which is the consultative work, right? The solving problems, being there, showing empathy, those things that technology will not do, or not in a way, at least that we want to experience. But that is kind of transforming really the role of mobility from doing just the admin work that no one really wants to know, to being there as a consultant, as a partner who can help really drive an outstanding experience.
Okay, that's amazing. I'll just stop sharing for a moment. So we've had a couple of questions that have come on, then we're going to move on to AI and predictive analytics, all sorts of stuff like that. But a couple of comments, one from AK and one from Lachelle, and they're both pretty much saying the same sort of thing, which is, have we thought of integration with a tax advisor, which is a major pain point? And then Lachelle says something similar, are there integrations with immigration and tax reauthorization? Because what we're talking about here, when we talk about the integrated RMC, we're not just talking about integration with an RMC, we're talking about integration with all the vendors. So Nitzan, maybe just tell us a little bit about integration with immigration and tax as well.
Yeah, so the single platform of Benivo, the end-to-end platform, allows the mobility manager to have all the vendors on a single platform. So tax, immigration, relocation, shipping, DSP, everything on a single dashboard, on a single data. So yes, you can authorize all the services in one click. I think if I got AK's question right, he was talking not about cases where the employer pays for tax services, but actually when the employee need to pay for their tax services, and they need to figure it out. And that's an interesting point, because I think this is something that definitely can be done better, and we have some solutions, but you kind of open our eyes here, to be honest, at least mine, and we're definitely going to get back to that and see how to further embed that, because I think that's another opportunity, right? And that's the fun part of working at Benivo, hearing those needs and iterating and learning from them to make it better for everyone.
Okay, let me bring Beth into the conversation. Now, Beth, I talked earlier about working smart, and I know something that's really, dear to your heart is AI and predictive analytics. So do you want to tell us a bit about how we can use that sort of cutting edge technology to really get more out of, if you like, a traditional relocation management relationship that might otherwise be there, using the tech basis to support the RMC?
Yeah, I'd love that. And I'd also like to bring in Trish, asked the question earlier about how RMCs feel about this partnership. And obviously, having worked at an RMC, there are huge benefits from having access to the same information. So one of the things that I spoke about in our session this morning, actually at the EMEA FEM event, was about everybody having consistent information. And because your integrated RMC has access to the same data as the employee, has access to the same data as the mobility team, and can actually do things in the system, you're all aware of issues. You're able to predict things before they happen, and you're measuring things in the same way. So if I can share my screen now. So one of the ways that we're doing this is when you're working with multiple different providers. In this case, I'm showing the immigration platform or the immigration dashboard. But you can work with multiple different providers of immigration services, and because you are which is really normal, by the way. So people have different immigration providers in different locations because they have different specialties or relationships that have grown up over the years. One of the major pain points that people talk to us about is how do you track those in a consistent way and find out what's going wrong? Because through Benivo, we monitor SLAs in an integrated way, either through an API or our vendors updating the portal, and we have the same milestones. That means you're able to see this information in a way that is meaningful. So here you can see on my screen that I've got how many initiations I've got, how many have yet to be contacted by their immigration provider. And now, as a integrated RMC consultant, if your mobility team choose that this is the role they want you to do, you can go in and drill down who's late. Is it a problem? How do you deal with this? So depending on the relationship you want, the mobility team want to have with their RMC, they can see this data and do something about it as well. So you have the option for helping both the employee and the mobility team. And it's really exciting. You don't have to log into multiple systems. And obviously, often as a RMC, you don't have access to all of this information because maybe it's only the mobility team that actually have this access into logging into multiple different systems, and then it's just a nightmare to reconcile. Equally, that's really exciting is that we're now able to predict things that are going to happen. So if I scroll down here, one of my favorite things on this screen, although I know it looks quite boring, but is this little box at the bottom here, and that's all about which of my cases are on track. Based on what's happened before, which cases are not going to make their cutoff date, which cases are going to have another assignment letter created or those expectations managed by the company. Or maybe because you know about it in advance, you can actually push things through quicker, tell the employee that they need to return their information more quickly, or we need to get the vendor to work to a shorter SLA.
And I love that. You've got cases that are off track and cases that are at risk. And that could be for all sorts of reasons. It could be because there's poor performance from a governmental agency in giving responses. It could be, because one vendor is not performing, or it could be because the employee is not performing. But
it could also be because the employer just set a ridiculous start date to start with, and there was never any hope of meeting it. And now we've got the data to show that, and it's really exciting. And it's all about, I think, one of Eric, who's doing the masterclass on November the 10th, one of the things that he likes to talk about is that we, as vendors, we all need to play in the same sandbox. So going back to Trish's comment, should we all play nicely together? Yes, we should, because this is what comes out of it. Everybody is better off. I've spoken to RMCs who are so excited that they will be able to, and they can use our cost estimate tool. So there's no charge for for corporates using our cost estimate tool. You can give your RMC access so they can create your cost estimates for you. It is such a flexible solution, and we are going to make it work as each client needs. And it's just really exciting to see and work with different clients who are making this work in the right way for them and for their employees.
Okay. And there's another, thank you so much for that. And there's another issue there. We've talked about using predictive analytics and artificial intelligence. We've talked about employee experience, but there is a dirty little secret in our industry that we need to address. And that is that when it comes to data security, cybersecurity, especially down the supply chain, we are not good. I mean, if you think about it, the way it typically works is you have maybe a big, fabulous RMC, but then they go all the way down the supply chain, and down the supply chain somewhere, you've got some, 1-2 person businesses, and they're not going to have the level of cybersecurity that you want when you're sitting there working for some major, Fortune 100 company or wherever you work, and they will never get it. So what we can do through technology is we can protect the supply chain and thereby ultimately protect your employees. Because again, if you think about it, that we give more personal data out than probably any other aspect of the company. Most parts of the company, if they're even in HR, they're dealing with the employee. We're not just dealing with the employee, we're dealing with the employee and their family and their pets and all their household goods. Someone is literally going into your house and looking at everything you own. And that's out there in data world. How much information we're giving out. So Nitsan, tell us a bit about that and how we can use tech to help the RMCs and to help you as corporates manage your supply chain cybersecurity.
Yeah, and thanks for flagging that, because that's, in my opinion, the biggest risk for the role of mobility. And this risk, unlike the tax risk and the immigration risk that we are managing, it's a risk that most companies don't manage, which is madness, because the data that is most important is the data of the employees, and the employees who will care most about it are the VIPs. The more senior the person in the organization, the more they care about their data. That's something we've seen, not saying that others don't, but that is something we've seen consistently across clients. And it's not just a ticking bomb. This bomb actually exploded. 40% of companies in a research we've done said that they've experienced a data breach due to a mobility vendor. So that is an issue in the model, and no one is solving this issue at the moment. No one is even addressing. Unfortunately, not even enough people are talking about it. So here we are raising the awareness, and yes, we also have a solution. We're using technology to protect the employees' data and ensure that vendors can focus on delivering the service, what they do well, not on managing data security. We keep all the data secured. We only share protected data. We help the vendors. We coach them how to manage that data, but not just by running questionnaires, but actually giving them technology tools. We build technology tools to help ensure that vendors, even small ones, can operate without having all the security that is required from a direct vendor of the corporate. So really transforming here how this works and reducing the risk, as was measured by one of the maybe biggest companies in the world when they looked at that model, by 97% reducing the risk. So a dramatic improvement.
Okay, so I mean, there's so much we could be talking about. We could be talking about cost estimates. We can talk about a single digital hub. But But maybe let's just finish up talking about, you know, the sorts of companies that we're working with and the savings that can be achieved. So tell us a bit about that in our last few minutes.
So I'm not sure we're naming who we're working with as part of this session. But the way that they're seeing cost reductions, as I mentioned earlier, is really by having open and honest relationships with their RMC about where they are getting value and what they need. It is giving the choice back to the corporate and saying, we've worked in this way for a long time, but there are efficiencies that we can now benefit from. So whether that's data efficiencies with not having to input information more than once, it's benefiting from cybersecurity, it's removing the costs of cost estimate or expense management, vendor initiation, fund disbursement. There's so many opportunities that are through technology that I love. I mean, one of the favorite parts of my job is working with clients to do that return on investment analysis from moving over to Benivo. And a lot of that is evaluating what they're currently paying for that they're not using, and where that money could be better spent, really focusing on those employees who need a white glove service and maybe providing it to those who previously didn't get it because of grade or because of location or because of whatever other choices were being made, and now being able to focus those funds in the right place. So I find it really exciting. And because at Benivo we are, you know, I think we've mentioned before, data crazy. You get all the data behind those decisions to then back up why you've made that decision. So it's not making a decision and then hoping that it was the right decision. It's constantly having the data to show you the improved employee experience, the data on the improved feedback about the RMC engagement, where they actually are speaking to someone, where those employees are getting value out of that. And it improves the employee's relationship or the RMC's relationship with the vendor, because suddenly they're adding so much more value. They're getting glowing feedback. It's just really exciting to be part of that change that I see as a win-win for everybody who's involved.
Brian, is Yuki still on the green room? I would love to hear you.
I'm just going to bring Yuki back into the conversation. So Yuki, as we're here for our last few minutes of the show, you know, from your perspective, you've heard all this. I know you've got a passion for technology. Where are you generally? I'm not asking you for specifics. Where are you generally on this whole concept of the integration between tech and RMC?
I have to say, well, 100% integration. I support 100% integration in any technology. So, meaning integration, yes, you have to strike a balance. I am very much fan of technology, but you really can't replace the human touch. So strike a balance somewhere.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning, that it's not an or discussion. It's not technology or white glove. It's an and discussion. You've got to have both. The only question is actually not if you integrate, but how you integrate the two. I'm also going to bring in, as we're into our last minute, I'm going to bring in Alex and, of course, our wonderful producer, Tally. So we have the gang back in town. Alex, from an immigration point of view, I know we already do integrate our platform with Fragment, but how important do you think it is from, you see clients all the time, to integrate the technology with the white glove service?
So important. Yeah, I agree with Nitzan. Of course, you want good service and good tech, but yeah, it's something we really sort of thinking about a lot at Fragment, and yeah, I completely agree.
Okay, so we're pretty much out of time. All that really remains is for me to thank you, our wonderful, wonderful audience. We will be back next week. Remember, we got a special episode next week, Moving with Pride, all about the spotlight for global mobility on the LGBT community. It's a huge issue, and we're going to be getting into some of the really, really important issues that come out there. And that's with Sherihardid Maestre from Amazon, with Guy Smith from DLA Piper, with Chris Wilde from Bloomberg, and Caroline Boyle from Altavita. It's going to be an amazing conversation. Many of you, I'll see you at the Emmas tonight. All of you have a great week. Thank you all so much. And thank you to all our wonderful guests, to Yuki from Berlin. We really appreciate it. to Alex for stepping in so wonderfully for Julia, of course to Beth and Nitsan, and indeed to you, Tally, for your breaking your holiday to be able to help produce the show. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. Goodbye.
Bye.